Ah, the Resident Evil movie franchise. Once a small light of hope bathed this series in its early days, back when horror legend George Romero was considered to write and direct the first film. Alas, in a decision that is stupid even for Sony standards, they chose Paul W.S. Anderson, a man whose career up until the first Resident Evil film consisted of the Mortal Kombat movie and the serviceable Event Horizon. This man was chosen to shepherd this horror series whose games had become a mega hit and revitalized the horror game genre just years prior. Negating everything that makes Resident Evil interesting in favor of giving his then future wife Milla Jovovich a job, Anderson decided to write an original story with original characters as the main cast, with sweatshop knockoffs posing as famous game characters shuffling their way into the series after the first film. Over the course of the early 2000s and then in the early 2010s, Sony and Screen Gems continued to pump out one of these ADHD-fueled action-heavy movies every 3 or so years, angering fans of the game who craved a game story-faithful adaptation like a zombie craves brains. But then, on the horizon, a ray of hope, shining dimly at first but getting brighter as it got closer. The final chapter in the Resident Evil movie franchise. Except it's not. Not only is Resident Evil the final chapter a fucking deceptive title, it's also a shit film, which shouldn't come to most people as a surprise. For a film that was supposedly shot only last year, it looks like something from 2008. With CGI so shockingly bad, you would be forgiven if you thought you were watching a PlayStation 2 game cinematic. Not only is it bad, but they know it is, hence why 90% of the film takes place either at night or in dark rooms. Not to mention the scenes that feature such CGI or special effects makeup are edited in such a way that one would think that Michael J. Fox snuck into the editing room and tried to check his emails. The story, and I do use that word in its most loose form, is so simple a 5-year-old would understand. Jovovich's Alice character must get from point A to point B in a set time. Time we are told they are losing every 5 fucking minutes. Along the way she runs into miscellaneous survivors, all whom aren't worthy learning names or background history to because A, they aren't game characters, and B, they all die, apart from Ali Larter's Claire Redfield, who last time we saw her was I believe with her brother Chris Redfield, but now is on her own, with no explanation whatsoever. Same goes for other game characters such as Leon S. Kennedy, who is completely missing from this film, however surviving the last film intact. He just disappears somewhere, we're not told where. Nothing is ever explained in this film, nothing of interest anyway, unless of course it relates to Alice's life, which we learn is also false because she apparently is a clone of the daughter of the Umbrella Corporation's head scientist and founder, who had a disease the T-virus was made to combat. In another better written series, this would have been hinted at or had clues left for you and the characters to find out throughout the series, leading to the big reveal in this one. Instead, this film spends the first 10 minutes telling us an entire backstory we have never heard before, thus giving away the quote-unquote twist. A twist we are rewarded for by seeing Jovovich in hilariously old woman makeup. It was absolutely awful. The acting across the board is hilariously bad, but surprisingly it's Ruby Rose, whom I criticize heavily in my XXX review, who gives the best performance, mainly due to the fact that she only has about 5 lines before being diced up in an industrial fan halfway through the film. Sean Roberts, the man who plays the character Albert Wesker, was always hilarious to watch in the films previously, with his bad delivery of lines and body acting as he tries to act out Wesker's powers. But here he is sadly relegated to literally sitting at a table and talking with a computerized girl. Milla Jovovich's Alice is still, after 6 goddamn films, an emotionless mannequin, never learning anything from her experiences or even evolving as a character. Game of Thrones' Ian Glenn, back as Dr. Isaacs from the 3rd film, seems to be having fun however, playing both the owner of Umbrella and the crazy religious nut clone of him. Now back to that subtitle, the final chapter. It implies that this is the end of Alice's journey at least, and that if maybe these films would see fit to end, it could pave the way to a reboot that is maybe a bit more faithful towards the games. And it looked to be heading in that way near the end, with Alice sacrificing herself to spread a cure across the world. Only she doesn't die, instead travelling to New York while a voiceover threatens us with the possibility of more films set in this universe where 99.99% of the world's population is dead. Who knows, maybe they will do something smart and end the series here, and in a couple of years we'll get a more faithful reboot. You never know. Maybe they want us to assume our own adventures of Alice, make up anything for her character. Maybe this is the end. Or maybe Anderson, Sony and Screen Gems are threatening us with more of this schlock. Only time and I guess money will tell. I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 10.
Fuck you, it's January!
Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a comment in the comment section below, or follow the links on screen now to other reviews or topic videos. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe for more weekly reviews and videos.